I always have a hard time figuring out how to screen share because when you open up PowerPoint as a presentation, it takes over the whole screen. Let's see. So I'm going to have to show it with my slides just because I can't seem to get it to participate in letting me have the whole slide open and sharing it with the group. Miriam, you want me to just try it one more time and you just tell me if it didn't work? Let me see. Can y'all see the whole screen now, or do you see this current slide 2 of 7 thing?
The latter.
Yeah, the 2 of 7,
Yeah.
2 of 78.
Okay.
That's
Let's
a lot
do
of
this.
slides. Holy mackerel.
It's fast. It's fast. It's freaking
It's
fast.
okay.
I mean,
It'll be
it was like
fantastic.
120 and I got it done in 45 minutes. So I get a little slidey. Okay. So this is actually a CEU, but I pared it down and just made it less extensive and more efficient for you guys. And it's about understanding using AI in an authentic way, which means you're using it correctly and you get the most out of it. I'll cover what its potential is for your business. Should you be using it? We're going to ask you the core questions that your business should be able to ask before you step into using AI so that you feel confident that you're using it in a practical application for your business. We'll talk about how to use it to perform the task of improving your branding for your business, and then just generalized tips and application solutions for when you use it to make it fast, efficient, and accurate for your business. So first off, we're talking about generative AI, and generative AI is different than just standard AI. Like you might understand that we've always had those like learning thermostats in our house. That would be machine AI where it used math, but now we're talking about a tool that can take written language and turn it into a video, or a video and turn it into written language, images into written language. And so this is the human-made things being made into more of the creative arts for our businesses with a machine doing it for us, like these digital tools. And because it's a very new product, people don't understand if it should be scary, if it's good, if it's bad. And the reality is, as you get to understand AI, you'll find that there is kind of a line, and that AI is both, right? It's good for your business and it is bad for your business. But what we want you to do is have that super clean line where you understand if you should be using it or not, and if you're using it in the right way and getting the results that you want, because it truly can help your business and save you some time and energy. So it is a new thing, and it is it started in 2022 and everybody was scared of it. But as it's been around, we're just kind of learning that it's having to use human input to create its output. And there's some copyright infringement that has happened amongst these tools because they're having to resource the information from somewhere. And so as we all understand that there is some copyright infringement happening for the growth and development of these tools, we have to make sure that we balance things out so that we are not participating in that part of these resources. So why did it have to cross a copyright line back in 2023 and then a little bit into this year? It's because the higher the quality of the human input, the better results that you get. And so what we want to do is keep in mind that we are wanting to use AI and create really good AI solutions. And that is dependent on the quality of your input. You put nothing into it, you get nothing out of it. But if you understand how to put a lot of good stuff into it, then it can produce good for you results along the line. So once again, the question should be, is it good? Is AI good? Is AI bad? It's the understanding it's both. I mean, the same with really anything else in life. It's going to have the benefits to your business if you know how to implement it. That'll be just a piece of cake. It's going to make life so much easier. And then it's also going to come along with these flaws. And as long as you understand what the flaws are, how to find them, and how to fix them, or how to at least expect them, you will not be disappointed with it. And so what we want to do is give you those tools to understand, like this is a little faceless rabbit in the background, right? But it's got chicken legs. And in the reality in that little picture in the background behind the two dogs, the stuff in the forefront is clear and makes sense, but you have to understand that the like items that are fifth in AI are going to be distorted or wrong, right? So you might be using AI as a tool to create a paragraph for you to add to your blog post. The structure is going to be great. The concepts and how it outlines it for you is going to be great. But you'll find that these background items, like the adjectives and the adverbs it's going to use, are not going to be the correct ones for you to use. It's just not capable of giving you that super clean, accurate solution every time because it is pulling from all the data. The chicken legs on a rabbit makes sense to these programs because it doesn't understand enough. And so we always kind of want to keep in mind that the more we can educate it on who we are and what we need, the closer the results will be to what we want. And it has nothing to do with if you get trained enough, it'll give you that best final solution. It will not give you your final solution. Miriam, is that for me or somebody else? So just like everybody's mom says out loud, as a mom, I say it too, just because you can, it doesn't mean that you should, right? So there's always going to be a time and a place where maybe you shouldn't be using it. And that's understanding AI. Knowing when not to use it is just as important as knowing when you should be using it. So the question is going to be like, should you be using AI in your business? I am not an attorney. This is not legal advice, but you should be able to ask yourself a couple of questions. And everybody in your business should be aware of where you and your business stand on using AI. And all of this is taking into consideration your reputation and your client. Okay. None of this is about who you are as a person. It has nothing to do with what your intention is. It's about what results you're going to be creating. And so your business should understand where you want to be using AI as part of your reputation and your presence. And so 6 simple questions you could be asking yourself right now to balance out and adjust what you think about AI would be, are you using another firm's work to make either the images or the content that you're creating? So if you're taking someone else's work and inputting it to get what you want, technically you're going against the rules and regulations of the platforms. You should never take other people's human-made content and input it to create your own. So I think that's a really good guideline to use. So if you have somebody in your office and they need to write a blog post and they input someone else's blog post and have it like rewrite it in your brand voice, that's not a solution. And your staff and the people who work with your business should understand that that's a line that you don't want to cross. So you don't want to be using someone else's completed work to create something for you. When it comes to like image generation, which we aren't going to be able to cover because it's much more extensive, Anytime you use straight AI generated content, you have to understand that it should be labeled AI generated content. Technically, the copyright offices want you to have like AI generated content on whatever you use straight AI on. And once again, it's just part of your reputation, part of your outside view of who you are as a business. If you aren't creating the content in some capacity, if you're not refining and making your work better, and you have to label something as fully generated by AI, how do you feel about showing that to a client? And this is super easy if you want to do it. You could start a presentation and say, "Hey, this is the concept behind what we're wanting to do for you." And I was able to generate some images for you with AI to create some concepts that we should look at. No different than I looked on Pinterest and I found a couple of things that I think might inspire us for this project. So, how do you feel about labeling it as AI generated content, and how do you want to present that? You know, don't outwardly present yourself. Like, don't use it in your social media. Don't use it in these press requests that this is completed work. Miriam will tell you, blacklisted, like you're done. Nobody is going to want to work with you. So it's not like the government's going to come after you and be like, oh no, I'm going to check interior designers for AI generated content and see if they're following the rules of the platform they're making it on, and the governmental rules about labeling the AI content. They're not coming after us, right? But social circles, other professionals, this is where you have to take into consideration, how does an industry professional see me with this representing my business? So this is going to be, how does the press see you? Press doesn't like it because it's not valuable content for them, because it's not new, it's not fresh, it's obviously pulled from the mass populace. And if you get a lot of referrals from like a great architect or great developer, and they want to send you these just ongoing projects, take into consideration, how does that builder or developer feel if they're seeing AI generated content? Okay. So it doesn't mean that you can't use it. It's just understanding that balance of where you're using it and the results that you're going to get. So it's your reputation. You should be able to start understanding when you might be crossing the line and using it in a way that's not representative of your business. So completed portfolio work, unless you just create AI quality stuff 24/7, then you're just kind of an AI creator and not an actual finished building project person. And so we want you to understand your completed actual projects, the stories behind real projects, the stories behind problem solving for actual people is way more valuable. Okay. This is the difference between rocks and diamonds. You can create so much AI content that it has no value. If you have a diamond, which is a completed project where you can talk about the countertop material and why it was chosen, or something that's new that came out and why that is really exciting and new, a million times, that's the diamond. Okay. That's the stuff the media wants. That's the stuff real people want. They don't want a gross overuse of AI. I mean, if you've looked on Pinterest lately, it's just a million AI images, and there's so much clutter now on Pinterest. You can't search for something and understand like a design solution easily on Pinterest, because, that stuff's not to code, and it's not functional, and it doesn't really work. So those inspiration images actually start becoming kind of like a negative experience for the client. Okay. So we're remembering, like, how does your client feel? Is your client feeling more familiar with you? Is the client feeling more secure, more confident in you? And like I said, these images aren't typically built to code. So once you come across them, you know that they're not buildable, or there's some kind of glaring flaw to the design that wouldn't make it functional. all of that is just going to defeat your value, your real value. So just because all this is new and exciting, it doesn't mean that you should be using it, but you should also have like a value system that you feel like you can gauge when and where you want to be using it. Are you going to get referred because of your AI content? No, not by professionals, not by experts. So just don't there are people out there who are creating AI content to try to promote their businesses, to try to create like a larger social media following, but that is truly not conversion into sales, and it's not truly credibility. And so we want to make sure that we understand when it's just not going to work for you. It's not going to create the result that you want. And so when you have questions, like legit questions you ask yourself and your business, and you have a guideline, it's really nice because you'll always know, does it fall in or out of what the goals are, and within or without of my business's reputation. And so how would you be using AI content? It would be when you're wanting to inspire and convey ideas during the correct time, and it's usually during concept and ideation. You can use a lot of these AI tools, but once it gets to like construction and build and all that kind of finalizations, step away. Like, don't use ChatGPT to do those levels of presentation. But if you want to put together a really amazing proposal and have the verbiage on your website, have the outlines for your blog post done, and ChatGPT, all of that is a great place to be using the tool, because when you get into the nitty gritty, you really need to be all human. You'll know where AI is good for you and where it's not good for you, and it's going to be based on the results, right? Just you'll know immediately if your result is positive or negative, and you should be constantly checking. As people become more savvy to AI, the glaring obvious use of AI increases where people understand it more. Then you're going to get more pushback later on in the game versus when you're using it early and people are still wowed by it. But because it's producing rocks and rocks and rocks and rocks, it becomes more identifiable. Always make sure it's going with your reputation, not against it. And you'll know because you're going to be making money and saving time. And if you're not making money and or saving time, don't worry about it. Don't use it, right? Just don't even use it. And so if you feel like that the results you're getting is what you want and you're making money, you're saving time, then use it. Use AI to your benefit. This is not a replacement for humans. This is not a solution for what we don't want to do, but it is going to help us make certain tasks super easy. And what you can do is improve some of the marketing that we are talking about for your business by creating a brand for you that's stronger. Miriam calls a brand the memory of your business. Okay. So when someone walks away from working with you, what do they remember? Is that correct? Did I quote you right? Yes. Okay. So when you're thinking about using these AI tools, one of the first things we want you to be doing is integrating ChatGPT, which is the written tool of generative AI for your business, to make things easier and to make things more professional and to create a stronger brand for your business. And Jason's going to go more into branding and more into all of this. This is just more of an overview. You're going to have a deep dive into this in December. I just want you to understand that you can use AI to push along a longer process and make it faster. So it is easy to implement, easy to learn. So when you are using these tools in the right way, you are going to have a better branding, a better client experience. And that looks like connection, a better, higher quality communication and connection with the people that you're wanting to work with. It's going to create a more strong feeling about how they feel like when they're working with you, because they're going to find that there's a consistency and a familiarity, even across people within your business, so that they don't feel like they're working with completely different people with completely different personalities and completely different ways of handling things. They're going to feel like your business is very, your staff is very highly trained to create the best experience for the people who interact with you. So when we talk about using ChatGPT, the goal is that it's you, it's your brand, and it's just a little bit better. That's all we're wanting to do. Is we're just wanting to create like a better quality solution for you, but we want it to be yours. We want it to be a very exclusive feeling that is indicative of working with you and your business. And so the number one thing is good input creates good output. So you have to deliver input and content from your business to actually receive solutions that are good for you. And in all of this, the goal is to create that better client experience. Like I recently went on a podcast and was speaking with a group of designers, and they were like, every time I use ChatGPT to create something, it's just like gook, and I spend so much time trying to rewrite it because it's not even close to what I would say. And there's a shortcut. You don't have to tolerate basic AI solutions because you'll have the tools to circumvent that additional time and energy that it would take to humanize something that's made through ChatGPT. So with AI, what we're wanting to do is create that consistency. We are actually wanting your business to kind of set itself apart from just average every day. We want it to be, we want in every way for you to be presenting an increased value, right? Increasing value means more money, means less time, better results, right? And so when we talk about using ChatGPT, you're going to want to have some version of it that is working, that understands you. When you're using ChatGPT, you're basically using like a high school boy who just took a class in how to read, step off of the bus, and help you with something. Okay. Absolutely under no circumstances would you want his advice or want him writing for you, right? And I like to just kind of have y'all understand that visual, right? You would never just hire somebody who doesn't know anything about what you do or anything about your business to be advising you and giving you advice. The first thing you would do is research and find an expert, right? Before you would want to get advice, right? So you would, reach out to Miriam because you need some PR advice. You would reach out to Jason because you need some expert marketing advice. And so when we talk to ChatGPT, we need it to know what type of expert you want to talk to. Okay. You don't want the teenager stepping off the bus. You just got out of English and calculus. You want an expert. So when you interact with ChatGPT, you want to engage its expert persona, and you want to say, I want a high level marketing person to help me rewrite this or analyze this. I would like to have a PR person write a response to this. And so the first thing that we want you to understand is that ChatGPT can perform really well for you and create solutions to tasks that are very usable when you understand that you have to trigger its expert to get what you want. The second thing you need, and we've already gone through this with Sharon, is to have it understand how you write. And that's called your brand's voice. How you speak, what all of your other written works look like, so that it has a understanding of how you speak. So when it operates as an expert, it also understands how you speak. And then we want it to be speaking to your client that you have told it about. And then what happens is you're going to get a result that's closer to what you want. And then you're going to have to go in and give it the human touch and review and edit it. But we can also just have it humanized by giving it little tips and tricks on what you don't want it to do. Because AI is predictable. It is going to do, remember those periphery things that show up with your solution that you don't want, you can start to ask for those to be left out. So some expert personas, just to give you some ideas of some of the ways that you can ask it to help you, is that you can ask it to act as, and you can tap into these experts. I have had some people ask, well, what about lawyers? And I'm like, you can, but I wouldn't, you still need to have a real lawyer. But if you're just wanting to kind of brainstorm and come up with ideas before you talk to an attorney, yes. You could probably brainstorm some ideas, but you just need to say who it is that you want to talk to, right? I need a blog post talking about how to refinish cabinets, and I'd like to tap into a DIY expert, because you may understand that the person you're writing to is someone who wants to just know that you're knowledgeable, but not necessarily do the work themselves. So you may want to come out and say, from a kitchen and bath expert as a cabinet manufacturer. And then you can dig into whom the expert is speaking and whom they're speaking to. So number one, you need to tell it who you want to talk to. Otherwise, you're going to get a kid stepping off of a school bus. And an example is if you're asking for something as simple as having copywriting done instead of like an English teacher writing something for you. A professional copywriter, this is written by AI, understands your target audience, tailors the language and style to reflect your business. It will employ the persuasive techniques. It uses storytelling, humor, emotional appeal, and compelling calls to action, and it'll convince your audience to take a desired action. So even just tapping in, and instead of having just anybody write something, you want to have access to these higher level experts. But even if you're working with a really high quality expert, how long would it take for a high quality copywriter to be onboarded to help you with your business, right? They would ask you a ton of questions. You would have to answer all of these questions. You would have to give them a ton of information first before they could actually help your business. And so we do have to take into consideration that when you are engaging with these AI tools, that it can perform high quality services for you. However, you already need to know what it needs before you start asking it to do tasks for you. And in this, it needs to understand your audience. It needs to understand your language and style. And then you kind of need to tell it what the results are. What do you want it to do? And so this is how you get from point A to point B, and you have a lot less work on the other side. And you can create like high level consistency across multiple people within a business. And you can get a more predictable result that is doing exactly what you want it to do. So for an example, so you've already got like a bio on the website about someone, and it can be super basic, right? This person, interior designer, 10 years, awards, seen in magazine. But what happens is if chat understands more about that business, you can take your content you've already written, put it into ChatGPT, and say, act as a professional copywriter. This is my ideal client. I need them to, what do I want this writing to do? And I want you to write it in our language and in our style. And then little tip here is tell it to not use adjectives for adverbs because that's where it really screws up. It doesn't understand adverbs and adjectives. So just tell it, leave out all adjectives and adverbs. Feel free to edit stuff back in. So what would that look like? So in this one, the bio, same exact bio after is written from the perspective of the reader versus me, 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 me. It's written, imagine you walking into your home, right? So it's already structured to talk to the person that you wanted it to talk to. It's written in more of your language, your style, and it does a complete and total action and says, connect with us today to start that journey towards your home that tells your story. And so this is how we want to see you using these tools, is to just tidy up things, clean stuff up, make it higher quality. The same as if you hire a copywriter for $5,000-$10,000 to come through and review all of your marketing copy, write everything on your website. We just want you to start using this as a tool that can do the same as hiring someone, as long as you know how to use it. So with each thread, when you use like these tools like ChatGPT, you have a starting prompt. Within that starting prompt, you can input the information it needs to know, who you want to talk to, how you speak, whom you're talking to, and what your humanized requirements are at the beginning. Then what happens is it keeps that for every prompt or thing or task that you ask within that thread. So that knowledge about your business that lands at the beginning of your prompts then helps create that consistency across your business. And how you do that is you create what we call a summary. And your summary is going to be the way you get the program to understand you, understand who they're talking to, how to speak, and what you're wanting them to perform and whom expert you want to tap into. And then this is something that as you build it and you create it, you save it, and it is part of a tool for your business to reuse over and over again. Even if you're using like Canva, Canva will perform a couple of tasks for you, and under your brand package, which would have like fonts and colors and stuff that can help you do some like graphics, it also asks for your voice, your brand voice, to be entered in. And then that way it can give you some suggested solutions that actually sound like you. So it's not like this is just only for ChatGPT and you'll never have to do it again. This is actually a tool that you will probably use for the entirety of your business moving forward now that AI exists. So what is your writing style? If someone said to you, how do you write? What do you sound like? What words do you use? How do you present yourself in the written language? You might be more familiar with what your portfolio looks like, but you may not be familiar with what you sound like and how you position yourself and your communication style. And so what you can do is ask ChatGPT to give you that description. And you do that by taking things you've already written that are very reflective of your business, and you just copy that information and input it into ChatGPT and say, can you review this information and give me a summary of my brand voice? That's the step. And once you've created that summary, you save it. You save it, you have everybody in your business have it. Okay, everybody. It's should be just as important as them knowing what font you like to use and your logo. Okay. Then what happens is it will give you a summary of what your brand voice is. And one of the, like in this slide, you might have casual writing style and you might have a professional writing style. Like your professional writing style would be how people consume information about your business before they've made the phone call. And then you probably have a more casual writing style for people who have already begun working with you. Your social media style should be the casual style. However, marketing, brochures, the writing on your website, all of that should be your professional. So you could have two brand voices, but most of the time your summary will kind of cover both. So here's the prompt. You just want to know what your brand voice is. You want to create that summary. And as Jason will have you dive more into who your client is, who that ideal client is you're talking to, you can even enter in your ideal client summary and then say, does my brand voice align with this? Are there any improvements you would make to my brand voice? And it might change out like one sentence, and then you could update your brand voice to then reflect better to your ideal client profile. So an example of a brand voice would be elegant, confident, and approachable. The tone of your brand reflects sophistication and timeless beauty. We communicate with an effortless elegance that mirrors the tailored high-end experience that our clients expect. Confidence, expertise shine through in every interaction, but we remain approachable, making clients feel understood and welcomed through the process. So that's why this is kind of, it's hard to just grab, right? So this gives you an opportunity to get that written down and have on hand. The next step will be, after you've discovered and explored your brand voice, it will be to find whom you're talking to. And this is going to be your ideal client profile or the avatar. And this is, once again, you just hired a marketing agency. They are looking at how you're going to run ads, what should be written on your website, how you should set up your social media. I mean, this marketing agency is about to dive into your business, and they're an expert marketing agency. That they're going to be like, now I need you to fill out a survey and tell me all of these things about whom you work with and why they work with you. And so just like you would train the marketing firm to be able to help you, you need to have a clear understanding of your ideal client profile. And so what you'll do is you'll spend a little bit of time working out your ideal client profile, which you're going to be doing next month. And as you work through these avatar exercises that we have set up for you, you will then generate a summary. And it's going to be your ideal client profile summary. So now you have a full brand voice, and now you'll have whom they're talking to. And you can interact with chat and say, hey, ask me 20 questions about my ideal client, and then you can answer them. But Jason has a more tailored version of that for you with some more industry specific details to it. But you can always play around with ChatGPT and work with it. As a marketing expert, can you ask me 10 questions to help me have an ideal client profile summary? And it will work with you, and it will ask you questions, but it won't know enough about your business to be as fine-tuned and tailored. And it might, take a little bit more time than what we'll be doing later on this year. So once you have that ideal client profile summary, it'll look like this. It'll have the type, the needs, the values, and its pain points. And you'll have, just like you had the brand voice summary, you'll have your ideal client profile. Save it, keep it together. And then this is the knowledge base that you're going to want any ChatGPT prompts to have in its pocket, so that you're working within a customized version of these AI platforms. So now that you have a brand voice summary and you have a client avatar summary, what the goal should be is that your clients should feel like the experience that they're having working with you is better, that it's going to have that consistency. You should be seeing that you're saving time. If your clients are not feeling like they're getting a consistency and you're not feeling like you're saving time, probably not using these tools correctly. Don't use your basic AI tools in the basic way, the lowest quality way possible. You really need to tap into one, the expert, two, your brand voice, and three, your ideal client profile. So now that you have these summaries set aside, you will want to have them in your brand kit, just like your fonts, just like your logo, just like your brand colors. And then if you have someone in the office who is using one of these tools, they should be able to be working off of the version of the tool with the information already in there. So some of the places that you will be able to implement chat will be building out your ideal client profile so that you have that marketing knowledge. Another way you can use chat is to help you improve and rewrite. So as you build out your brand voice and your ideal client profile, chat will help you to improve and get better results through asking it specifically to find ways to refine and create better solutions. So these can apply to all of your written communication in some capacity. You probably don't need it, right? It would take too much time to take a basic email and do update it. However, one of the things I really like is that ChatGPT can take away some of the emotional clutter that comes along with communication. So, for example, if you have a client who just wrote you an email at 3 a.m. and it has 20 line itemed things, or the person is a little bit verbally abusive, instead of like you get the email, you know who the person is, you know the writing that this is going to be in, the person in your office is going to be thrown off for the rest of the day after dealing with this. Take and input the email that was sent to you and say, hey, chat, can you review this and ask me to do all the tasks, but do it in a kind way and kind of clear out some of the negative language that this client uses when asking the question. So then that way you can have more control over what you are being exposed to in your day that might have sidetracked you because of like the emotional noise that can come along with some things. For example, if you get a review and the review is, maybe you're still fired up that you've been having a problem with this client and then the client leaves a negative review, chat can be the solution to make it super kind, super like a professional, educated response. And you can say, and I want this to make me look so good. People can't wait to call my business. I want my response to this review to be written by an expert PR person. I want my ideal client, when they read this, to see that I am caring, kind, responsive, that I listen, and that I do help fix problems, and that they would enjoy working with me. However, make it concise, but review this and give me a solution to this question. And this can cut out the emotional clutter that can come along with some of the communication. So, we'll have 10 minutes for questions to kind of go through, if you have any questions on how you should be using AI. But what we want is for there to be a goal. We don't want to be blindly thinking we have to implement the newest and the latest and greatest. We want there to be a positive impact to your business when we choose to use these tools. And within the context of our program, we believe that ChatGPT is going to be a very powerful tool for businesses that are open to using it and willing to implement it in the proper way. So, any questions?
No questions right now, but awesome presentation. And my takeaway is that, I mean, just knowing how to use it and how it can benefit us, because it's intimidating to get on and just start using it. And I've used it for things like, job descriptions, which
Yes.
does an excellent job, and things like that. But I mean, when you're going through your presentation, I'm thinking of all kinds of ways now that I can use it for, if I make a presentation. And so my struggle with presentation is having the backup video and photos for that. That's the hardest part for me as far as creating a presentation. And if AI can create a video that gives the feeling of what I'm trying to say, and that's awesome. That's the first thing I'm going to do when I get off this call. I'm very excited about that. So thank you.
The little person with all of the little like circular things around him to like demonstrate what a marketing profile would look like if there was a graphic. That's AI. I was like, can you do that? And it's increasing in its efficiency for us too, that you can ask it to give you an outline for a slide presentation, and it will give you the slide presentation with the information on the slides. And then all you have to do is fill it in with whatever you need. You can just ask it to give you a PowerPoint presentation outline, and then it'll just like give you a download to that PowerPoint if you just click on the link and you get access to it. So it's improving in its ability to shave off some time. I'm super bad at creating educational outlines and leaving stuff out or moving on too fast to the next thing. And I always have chat. I put in what my outline is going to be and say, can you look at this and tell me if the organization of this is correct? Is there some place I need to add information? And amazing. It's amazing.
Interesting. Yeah, that's great. And then the other thing, it's so funny because we're actually writing our designers' bios right now. And that was one of your examples. So much better.
Because what it does is it talks to the person who's going to read it, instead of it being like mentally you're writing it from your perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I know that part was just an example, but that's really helpful. So thank you.
I thought so too. I never really thought about that. And then I'm like, yeah, our bios are kind of boring. So I did think about looking at that. Like, oh shoot, I should do that.
Yeah. And then if you have it, like look at your ideal client profile and your brand voice, then all of the bios can be written in a way that as someone is wondering, like in their mind, do I want to hire, this business? And then it's like, I see an expert in this category. I see an expert in that category. I see the person who's going to be helping me with, this part of the process. Then like you're putting together a puzzle of a complete solution for someone through each one of the bios, because it's going to hit in a specific area to help bolster how your business is presented to your person who's researching you before they call you. And it's just so much more strategy, and it leverages creating results over the, like I said, emotional time and clutter that comes along with communication.
And Jeff did use AI once when we had a review. That was like a year ago when we first started. And he used it. He's like, I came up with this. I mean, it ended up sounding like I would have sent it, because he's pretty kind in those situations. He's always really good. But it was faster. Like it was it was what I wanted to say, but it was faster and less emotional. Like it was good.
And I also like the idea of using it proactively from the input into your business standpoint, because everybody ends up with one client whom talks to you in a way that you don't deserve. And that you can take their communication to you and just make it, more adult, more responsible. Then that way, when you respond, you're already kind of in that emotional and energy zone of less emotional, more adult. And a lot of these little tools will really help the performance of the business across the board. You can have someone who's more intro come in and already sound more onboarded than someone who's seasoned and been in the business for a while, just by leveraging, can you review this? Instead of maybe having to send it to someone else in your business to look at it and see if it's going out of the business in the same way that you would have written it, you can run it through ChatGPT, have that person run it through ChatGPT before it ever gets to you. And then that way you can look at it and be like, understanding it's already written to your client profile, uses your brand voice, and boy, just tell it to not use adjectives or adverbs. Oh my gosh, that's the worst thing about it. It'll be like, you will have the most amazing experience of your whole entire life whenever you call me back. And it's like,
I never thought about doing that too. I mean, we've worked on it, so I do have kind of a brand voice and stuff, but I do end up taking out some of that stuff. I mean, it's not as much because we've told it to tone down, But I shouldn't have said specifically, take out the adjectives.
Just take them out. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's good.
All right.
Awesome. Yeah, that was really interesting. I always learn something new when I listen to Maria, so that's great.
Yeah.
So
Well,
is
next
there
week
any
I'll probably show the
specific
new
homework?
update.
Okay. Oh yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, I'll show the new update. And I mean, do y'all want like a worksheet for brand voice? I know we're doing the ideal client profile next month, so that's kind of the big homework. This one is just sort of like get used to it, start using it in your business, kind of just get your brand voice sort of through the process, so you can start seeing what does that look like, how does it change the writing, and then as the ideal client profile will be the next one.
A worksheet on that would be wonderful. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, if there's no other questions,
I'm sure we'll have questions.
I think so
Yeah.
too.
We
Yeah,
have to be with it for just a little bit, and I'm sure there'll be lots of questions popping up.
and before, what we've done is have a thread already set up, like one where I can share it with everybody, and then you can kind of look at it and see how the sequence of communication plays out and what it can create and what it looks like. And then other people can hop on that same thread and play around with it. And that's also, I mean, I think this is more of a hands-on tool than it is something that, you could do.
Yeah. And how great would that be? We send to send that to the manager of all the designers and say, this is our voice. This is how you use, this is how you talk like us. That's pretty powerful. So excited for that too. I'm excited for all of it.
Yeah. Good.
Perfect. Okay. Well, thanks everybody for coming as always. Let us know if you have questions in the meantime, and otherwise we'll see you back here next Friday.
Yep.
Hey, thanks
Okay.
So much.
Thanks, guys. Bye.